I just finished reading The Maidens, which was such a good book. It had a great plot twist. It's a really good mystery, and it was so worth it. Now I'm in a really big mystery thriller mood, so I just ordered The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I've read Lock Every Door by him, and I really like that book, and I've heard a lot about this one. I think this is a newer one of his. I think I've heard mixed reviews on it, but the synopsis sounds really interesting, so I'm excited to read it. Little did I know at the time that it had so much popularity because people absolutely hated it. So here's me reading a book that I thought I would absolutely love and end up absolutely hating for the weirdest reason possible. I love when books are really suspenseful and exciting right off the bat. Like, I'm only on page 20 and there's already so much happening. I also can't stop thinking about the plot twist in the last book I read, The Maiden. It was so good and so exciting, and I didn't see it coming at all, so I'm really hoping that this one has another really good plot twist. I love trying to figure out the ending to mysteries before they happen, so at some point before whatever the twist is in this book, before it happens, I'm going to try to predict it. I'm almost at 100 pages now, and this book is really good. I love that it's only like 350 pages because I feel like lately I've been reading a lot of books that are like upwards of 500 pages lately, and this one is going by so much more quickly than those. I can tell it's setting up to be like a really good mystery. I'm gonna keep reading more tonight and we'll see how far I get. So essentially what I've heard and what I can tell that this book is about is a girl who moves to a house on a lake, and she's really bored and she's living by herself, so she starts watching the house across the lake, and she, I think, like witnesses some stuff, and then something happens. I think one of the people go missing. Piece together kind of the mystery of what happened to the person who went missing. It sounds like a really simple concept, but like a really good one at the same time. All right, I'm a little bit further in, not that much. I think I'm just a little over 100 pages. I wanted to say that I'm starting to get really into it. This book is really good. As you can tell at this point, I really love the book. I thought it was going to be one of my favorite books of the year, and I had high hopes for how it was gonna end. That is until I started watching some reviews.
Oh my gosh, this book was so bad.
I think this book's gonna be very divisive. This was just a little bit too far. I felt like it could have been done better.
I don't know how I feel about the paranormal aspect.
I hated it. Could have been done.
So mine.
Okay, so I came across a video of somebody saying they really didn't like this book, and as soon as I watched that video, I kept scrolling and I found more and more, and I can't figure out why. I wasn't able to watch the majority of any of the videos because I don't want to spoil myself, and it seems like the thing that people don't like is towards the end, but I find it so hard to believe that this could turn out to be a bad book because it's going so well so far. That is what one person said. She said it was going so well throughout the majority of the book, and then towards the end everything changed.
3/4 of the book is one way, and then when you get to the last fourth, it's like, oh, this changes legitimately everything.
I don't know what that means. I don't quite understand how that could happen because I am almost 150 pages in and I'm really liking this book. It just seems like there's no way this could go wrong, and yet I'm seeing all these reviews of people saying that it does. I'm just a little bit nervous. So I've been looking through some of the old mystery thrillers I've read over the years. I've always loved reading mystery thrillers, and that's mostly because I really love a good plot twist at the end of a book. It's like the best part about mysteries to me. But looking back at a lot of these, I realized that it is really hard to find one that actually had a really good, amazing plot twist that I didn't see coming at all. A lot of times you can kind of predict what's going to happen once you get towards the halfway or a little past halfway point. I'm just gonna pause right here real quick and say that I filmed this clip when I was about halfway through reading the book, and I was so sure I was gonna end up loving it. So the only way in my head that I could justify this book getting so much hate is if the plot twist was boring or predictable. And I was thinking the book is still really enjoyable even if that is the case. And I was trying to like point out that just because you might be able to figure out how it's gonna end before it does end doesn't necessarily make it a bad book. But I clearly didn't know what I was talking about at the time, because that is definitely not why people hated the book. Funnily enough, I filmed this right before I was gonna get to the big twist part that made me change all of my opinions about this book. In general, even if I don't love the ending or if I don't love the plot twist, I usually enjoy the book either way. And I think it's really interesting because I've always loved reading mystery thrillers, even if it is a plot twist that I can guess.
Honestly, if you guess the twist in this, you are a psychic.
Okay, I just read a little bit more. It's still going really well. Something really funny that I just noticed is that the top little quote from another author on the front of the book. It says, "A master storyteller from Alex Mike," I don't know how to say his last name, but the guy who wrote The Silent Patient, which also happens to be the same author who wrote The Maidens. That did not influence me in buying this book at all, but I literally just happened to notice it. Anyway, it made me start thinking about The Maidens again and how this book ended and how good of a plot twist it is. At first I was thinking that maybe the people who were leaving bad reviews on this book were people who just don't love intense mystery thrillers, and I think, in my opinion, this has a pretty intense plot twist, but that's kind of why I liked it so much. And people were saying this one was great and they loved it just like I did. So that makes me even more concerned as to what could possibly be in the ending of this book to make people hate it so much. I'm just so curious as to how this could twist that much from a story that's, to me, really, really good so far into something completely opposite. Okay, it's been a little while since I've said anything about this book. I read a lot in a short period of time. I am at page 300. So much has happened in the last 100 pages that I can't even comprehend right now. This is from like the halfway point or maybe a little past halfway and onward. I feel like there has been a plot twist every single chapter. Like, you could never guess. It's not like anything earlier on in the book was pointing to what was going to happen later on, but I'm starting to see why people dislike it so much. There's something about a plot twist that's so unexpected and so like out of left field that you can't see what's coming at all. Not because it's a really well written plot twist, but because there's no information in the beginning of the book hinting as to what could happen later on. And it's just so weird. It's like turned into something completely different. Now, the only way that it can be saved is that if what we think is going on right now actually isn't, and there's a logical reason for everything. And I'm hoping that's the case, but if it's not, this is probably going to be a very disliked book of mine. I only have 50 pages left. I'm gonna go read it all right now and we'll see how it ends. Okay, so I'm finished reading it now. I just finished it and there's so much that I want to say about this. I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to spoil everything. It was a very weird ending. Before I said, I think the only thing that can save this is if there's a logical conclusion for everything, and there wasn't. I do want to read a bit of the acknowledgements at the end because I read all of that when I finished it. He's basically thanking different people, and he said, "Thank you to all these people who cheered me on from the moment I first told them the bonkers plot of this book." So at least he's self-aware. I think Riley Sager is still a good author. I know other books of his are really good. Just this one isn't exactly what I had hoped for, and that's okay. In conclusion, if you want to read a mystery thriller, read The Maidens. It's really good.